Hi guys! In today's video, I'm going to be adding too much of everything into slime, and I haven't done this in 3 months, so I decided to start off the video with something a little special, and that's adding too much of literally everything I have to slime. So I started off with all the pretty things like gemstones, confetti pieces, fishbowl, foam beads, glitter of all sizes, and then some thermo, and then for colouring I basically just added gold leaf, some pigment, and then my charms. And I was expecting this to come out the colour of the pigment, and I was really surprised when it actually came out the colour of the gold leaf. But texture-wise, I honestly didn't like it too much. There was a lot going on, so honestly it was just very hard to navigate the slime. Whereas normally it's kind of the opposite and it's really easy to play with, and yeah, it normally de-stresses you, but this was kind of distressing, so it was the complete opposite effect. So I went in with all the ingredients I'd normally add into a white glue slime, such as talcum powder, some lotion to soften it up, food dye to colour it, some foaming hand soap, then also some scented oil to make it smell nice, and then some textural things like shaving cream and also clay. And mixing this in, I noticed straight away that the shaving cream was really speeding up the activation. And if you guys aren't familiar with shaving cream, it contains bicarbonate of soda, which is used to activate slimes. So like you can see here, it went kind of rubbery, and I decided to try and counteract that by adding some more ingredients, and I added some clear glue, some glycerin, and also some foaming face wash. And the clear glue, it was meant to take away from the activation by activating that clear glue, so just loosen everything up. Then the glycerin is known to melt slime down, and then foaming face wash also contains a lot of glycerin, so it turned it into a putty, but it didn't fully fix it. Next up, we have an item that I was gifted by my friends at Blushing BB, and this is adding too much of everything sponge capsules. Now, sponge capsules are really cool. You normally dip them in water and then they expand to make shapes, and this one was to make animals pretty much. So I did let this sit. This is a really long time lapse. It's been so sped up. But the idea was the longer I leave it in slime, the more likely it is to dissolve. So I left this for literally hours. But the problem was, because it's not hot, the speeding up process was just so slow. And I knew the sun was going to go in, so I decided to just cut the capsules off because I got so lazy with it, and they did end up being very pretty colours. They absorbed a lot of the pigment. If I was to do this again, I would definitely just use food dye, but yeah, they ended up being very pretty and I was happy with the result. Next up, we have a really cool one, and this is a 3D printer pen. Now, I was sent this a while ago to my PO box, and it was free of charge, gifted, all of that stuff. And pretty much what happened was I put it in my slime room, and I was like, I have to use this and adding too much. And then I just never got around to it. And recently, I've been using all my supplies up, so I've been looking at what I have and what I don't have, and I saw this, and I was like, why haven't I used this yet? So I tried it by myself off camera, and I was just in love with it. It's so easy to use. Like, I charged it up with my USB, and then pretty much what you do is you just add in the sticks that they give you, and you can build whatever. And you can build like cubes and stuff. I couldn't figure out how to build cubes. Personally, that didn't work for me. But this little structure I loved making, and it created a cool crunch. Next up, we're going to be adding two mini bracelet beads into slime, and I thought this would be really fun just because it creates such good crunches when you add beads in. But this palette actually had fishbowl beads and also glitters in as well, and I was gifted it at a convention last year and I was waiting for the right time to use it. It's from the Slime Box Club, so they normally give like a clear slime and then you mix stuff in, and I decided that I was going to mix it all in and add all the rest of the box in, and I still found that it wasn't too crunchy, so I was like, okay, I have to add a whole another box, and I decided that the original slime, because of beads, like they fall out, I thought it would be really great if I just added a really small amount of slime into here, mixed it all up, and then added more beads in. So this is pretty much what I did. I added the rest of the box after this, and I think maybe because they're all different sizes and also different textures, they held in really nicely, which I wasn't expecting at all. And then when I mixed them together, it made the best crunches. The next one has been super requested, and I don't really know why, but everyone's been asking for too many eggshells. So eggshells are kind of gross, and I decided that I was going to dip them in clear glue and then a bunch of glitter just to give some colour to it, because I tried this once before and it looked really nasty. And this is weirdly hard to crunch. Like when you're kind of like smashing it against the surface to break it normally, it doesn't feel very hard, but when you're doing it with your fingers, it is actually very hard. And then mixing it in, it created like a really weird texture, like it kind of like stuck out, it stabbed me a few times. But the thing that surprised me the most was definitely the colour it turned out, and I think the eggs might have colouring on them to make it look more appealing when they're in the shops, because this turned beige, and it might be an assortment of all the colours of glitters, but it looked like it had a bit of dye in there. Next up, we're going to be adding too much Lush. Now, originally I added a bath bomb, which was kind of the inspiration behind this, but then I thought, you know what, it'd be more fun to test out all of the ingredients and see what each of them did to slime. So the first thing I'm going to be testing out is shower gel, and I added this in. It pretty much didn't change it. I think it made it go a bit more flimsy, it scented it really nicely, and I found the slime was a bit jiggly. This is probably because of the glycerin in it. So next up, I added some shower jelly, and I think this is made with probably like gelatin or something very similar, and this didn't make too much of a difference at all, even though this does contain glycerin as well. It melted it slightly, but ultimately the pieces were so big that they didn't make a textural difference overall, and I didn't find that they melted the slime too much. So after mixing it, I just went in with my soap, and with soap, I kind of expected this to melt thoroughly because this has so much glycerin. I'm pretty sure it's like purely glycerin, but maybe Lush has a different type because obviously their ingredients are very natural, so it could be that, you know, the natural ingredients don't react as much as normal ones, because I know that soap can kind of melt it down a lot in other situations. So then I went in with a bar of shampoo. Now this one was really interesting to me because it created like a weird texture. It never dissolved like the other products, like everything else kind of meshed into one, and even if it didn't change the texture, it definitely kind of molded in. So this was really odd. It didn't really change much. It added like a scratchy feeling, and I kind of expected this from the Sculpt Soap as well. But salt actually melts down slime, and this only did it mildly. Thank you for watching this video. I really hope that you enjoyed it, and if you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll see you next week. Bye!